Let me get the picture up. There we go.
Hey everybody, thanks for jumping on. We'll give folks a couple seconds here to get in, and then we'll get started. All righty, 8 o'clock. I think we'll get rolling here. We are recording this as well, so if anybody does jump in a little bit late, they can catch up on the recording. So hey, thanks everybody for jumping on here tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. My name's Jeff Hoffman. I'm one of the board members with GMBA, and along with Lindsay, who you'll meet in a second, we're co-leads for both House League and Select. And love that you're here tonight, and just want to say a big thank you for stepping up to coach this year. You know, we've got tons of kids playing baseball across GMBA this summer, more than we had expected, many more than we've expected. And so we need your help more than ever. And thank you all very, very much for jumping up and stepping up to coach this year. It's gonna be a fun year, and looking forward to a great season. So what I thought we'd do to start, just to kind of go around the room here with this, we've got coaches from both our 8U group and our 9U group together on this call here. And so because the leagues are run and divisions are run pretty similar, so we thought we could sort of knock off two at the same time, two divisions at the same time, and have a good conversation around rookie ball. So but to start with, I wonder if you could just go around the screen here quickly, and you could introduce yourself and maybe let us know if you're coaching in 8U or in 9U. Okay. Chad, do you mind going first? You're the first person I see in the top of my screen. Do you mind letting us know what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm Chad, and I'm coaching 9U.
Awesome, thanks, Chad. Rich, you're next.
Rich?
Yeah, Rich, yeah.
Hi, I'm Rich. My name is Rich. I haven't coached before. My son wanted to play, so I decided to try to coach for him.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you stepping up. That's great. Eric.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eric. I coached last year in the 8-year-old. Well, I guess it was 8-9 last year. It was a bit of a roller coaster, but I had a really great time, so I'm back again.
We didn't scare you off, which I love it. It's great. Good to see you back. Thanks, Eric. Jordan.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I love baseball. I've never coached, but I have a son who is loving it. So I'm kind of stepping up to support and learn as I go. Like I said, I've never coached before, but I love baseball. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. Great. That's all you need, a little bit of passion. You'd be a great coach. So thanks,
Right.
Thanks for stepping up, Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Lambert, coached with Eric last year on Team 3 on the U8, U9, and we're back this year to have another good season.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Good to see you again.
Cheers.
Corey, I'll come back to you in a second. Trevor.
Hey guys, first time coaching. I'm coaching with Brandon Dodd. He's down with the screen off over there, but our boys they were born on the same day, if you can believe that. We met each other at the hospital, but yeah, we're looking forward to it in the 8U. So I think there's a third guy there too, Rob Robson. He'll be in the group with us too, but yeah, be good. Looking forward to it. It'll be a good summer.
Awesome. Us too. Thanks, Trevor. Mark. Oh, Mark, you're on mute if you're chatting there.
Sorry, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, last time I coached, my name's Mark, and the last time I coached was before the pandemic, and I did my son's rookie ball team. I've got a lot of experience with older players in their teenage to 40, but it should be a lot of fun with these guys this summer, and I'm looking forward to it too.
Great. Awesome. Perfect. Thanks, Mark. Danny.
Hey, I'm Danny. I'm coaching in 8U. Coached last year, so this will be my second year in a row, and looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for stepping up again. Bruce.
Hey, it's Bruce. I'm coaching 9U rookie ball. Just putting my kids to bed as we speak. That's why you don't see me right now. But good multitasker, so it should be fun.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Bruce. B-Dot, I think it's Brandon, right?
Yep, Brandon. Yeah, I coached 7U last year. My son had a lot of fun, and I coached 8U this year. So looking forward to another good season.
Awesome. Thank you. Tim.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm also putting one of my children to bed. My name is Tim. I'm coaching 9U. I coached 8-9U last year, and I'm also coaching 6U.
Awesome. Great, Tim. Thanks for doing the double duty, and thanks for stepping up again. Jay Chambers.
Yep, it's John. Hey, Jeff. I was here last night. I'm head coaching in 7U, and I'm assisting in 9U. I'm going to be working with Bruce and Lou, so I'm excited to work with them, and it's going to be an awesome season. So I'm out with both my boys this year.
Thanks, John. Tough game last night, eh? Tough Raps game, eh?
Oh, that was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it sure was. Hey, Lou. Hey, Lou, I don't know if you can hear me or not. If you can, your mic's muted right now.
I can.
I got you. We got you now. We got you.
I'm Lou. I coached Bruce. And I coached his brother and sister and a whole bunch of other teams. And I came back last year to coach my grandchildren. And I'm having fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Thanks, Lou. And I think I got one more. Ryan's iPhone.
Hey guys, yeah, my name's Ryan. I coached last year in 8U, and so I'll be doing 9U this year. Really excited, and yeah, also doing the double duty. I have another son in 7U this year, so yeah, super pumped.
Cool, thanks, Ryan. Awesome. Corey Brown, you want to introduce yourself?
If I can figure out how this works. Kyle just jumped on as well there too.
Okay.
If you want to circle to him after, but for those that don't know me, Corey Brown. I'll be convening 9U, 19U, and I coached the 9U select team this year as well. So a lot of experience with a lot of these ages. So feel free to ask me anything you need, any help you need. I can get you answers.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. And Corey, we really appreciate all the volunteer work you're putting in this year, man. Thank you very much. Hey, Kyle Davison, who just jumped on. Do you mind? We're just doing some intros here. Do you want to just do a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, nice to see everyone. I met you yesterday,
yeah.
Jeff. So yeah, my name is Kyle. I'm with my daughter and my son right now. I kind of she had a birthday party, got pushed really late. I was going to try and juggle the two, and kind of ran together. However, thank you for reaching out to me, Corey. And yeah, if you need an extra head coach, I'm more than happy to do that as well. I got 4 kids, 3 of which are in GMBA. So lots going on, but I just turned down some other things as far as like getting into Tri-City Wrestling for one of my sons and things. Like, we got to focus on one thing at a time. So very happy to help out. And we did one of these yesterday too. So kind of up to speed on what goes into it. Very excited to start coaching. Happy to see everybody.
Great. Thanks, Kyle. Great. And then Lindsay, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I am new to the GMBA board this year. I am the director of Junior House League and then co-chair with Jeff for Select Baseball. My son is 13U and has been playing baseball since he was in coach pitch, and really excited about the season. I'm also the temporary convener for 8U, as I'm sure most of you have heard from me that are involved in 8U, as we're still trying to fill that role. So any questions in the meantime, until we find somebody, I'm your person to contact.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. And as I mentioned off the top, I'm Jeff Hoffman. I'm, sharing House League and Select with Lindsay. And just thrilled that you've all stepped up to coach. Thanks very much. So we got a few slides we're going to go through. We're going to get you out of here before 9 o'clock, and then go from there. But pretty informal discussion tonight. If you got questions or anything, just speak up as we go. We don't need to wait to the end or anything. We can just sort of hit it head on as we get going here. So 8U, 9U. So here's some contact info. As Lindsay mentioned, we're still looking for that 8U convener. I'll put a plug in. Any 8U parents, if you want to help convene, Lindsay's done most of the work for you anyways, so get the glory and just help us finalize, stuff around 8U. Really, the big work for convener left would be to help to organize your tournament. That'll be the piece that's sort of left there. But if you can help, let us know. And of course, Corey
Can I
mentioned.
ask something there?
Yeah.
Sorry. I play ultimate frisbee, and convener to me was setting up the field. What is convener involved for?
Great question, Jordan. So convener, short of it, is sort of the overall lead for the division. So some of the work that's responsible for that is they set up all the teams. They find all the coaches for the division. At the older ages, they deal with things like discipline, those types of things, which aren't an issue here at 8U, 9U. And then the big next thing that's left is really it'll be that sort of key lead around the tournament that you'll play in, and the key lead around playoffs, just around how the schedule looks, and if there's questions that pop up, and then a little bit is like just getting trophies out to teams and medals, that kind of stuff as well.
I see.
It's really that key connection between Guelph minor baseball and the division itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. So we need a convener for 8U. Corey's our convener for 9U. There's his contact info, and Lindsay's our junior commissioner. So Lindsay's here to help as well if you need anything. And most of you have heard from Lindsay quite a bit. So here's timeline. Here's what you should expect over the next couple of weeks as we get ready to hop on the diamond. First thing is you should hear from your conveners, if you haven't heard from them already, with your finalized team. So Corey, how close are you with your teams being finalized at 9U?
I thought they were done until we added the extra team.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna do a little bit of shuffling. Kyle's gonna take that fifth team. And there's an abundance of volunteers for assistants, so that's good. And hopefully tonight or tomorrow I'll have the updated list sent out.
Okay, cool, great, perfect. So that's our goal. So you should hear from Corey, you 9U coaches by Saturday or so, with your teams, and then 8U, Lindsay, I think you're saying you're pretty much done, eh?
Yeah, I secured my last head coach today. I'm just waiting to hear back from a couple of people about being assistant coaches to finalize my team lists. And then they should all hear from me with their teams within the next 24 to 48 hours for sure.
Awesome. Perfect. Right on time. So you get your team sort of moved by early in the weekend, and then we're hoping that you're able to start to reach out to parents by Sunday to let them know what team they're on and introduce yourself and give them a couple key things that are popping up here, right? One is that uniform pickup will start May 2nd at Hometown Sports. This changed just last night. So if you were on any of these earlier sessions with me Lindsay and I last night, you would have heard a different date. It's going to be May 2nd is when your players' uniforms will be ready to be picked up at Hometown Sports, as well as your coach uniforms and your coach hats. And just so you know, too, we're going to share all these slides with you after we're all done here. So don't feel like you got to take crazy notes if you don't want. We'll get this emailed out to you through your convener as well. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
For the pickup, is the coaches picking up the uniforms and giving to the kids, or are the parents supposed to go and pick up stuff?
Parents should go and pick up their stuff. Yeah, that's the goal. Because we want them, they go in, try on the jersey, make sure it fits, try on the pants, make sure they fit. So yeah, parents should go in there and pick that up.
Okay, and then does each kid have their own jersey to pick up? Like, I can't remember if sizes were taken and stuff at sign up or numbers and stuff.
Yeah, there were sizes. We didn't do the number thing this year. It just, to be frank, it was really hard to pull off. It was incredibly difficult. And so we did do the sizing, but again, the sizing's always a bit of a crapshoot. So they should just go in, try a jersey on, try some pants on, take what fits. If it's different from what they picked, that's cool. Not a big deal.
Perfect. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Yeah, the sizing online just sort of gives us a bit of an idea, and then we just kind of take it from there. Okay, so uniform pickup, Hometown Sports here on Aramasa over that sort of 10-day window there. And then for you as coaches, for you as head coaches, your equipment's ready to be picked up next week on Monday, April 25th or Wednesday, April 27th at the GMBA office. We're at 100 Crimea Street. If you haven't been there before, it's just behind the food bank. Got to go down a little bit of an alleyway, and then it kind of opens up into a larger parking lot if you haven't been back there before. Bring a vehicle with some room in it, because you got to each team gets a pitching machine. If you're new to coaching at this age group, you get that Blue Flame Slinger pitching machine. They got to somehow get into your vehicle. They do break down a little bit, but not a lot. So and then you'll get bases and your equipment bag and baseballs, all that good stuff for you. So if you can't make either one of those two dates, please let Lindsay or Corey know. if we got enough folks, we'll add a third date in for pickup, but we're hoping to knock it all off early next week if we can. Spring training. So we expect to be on the diamond that first week of May. City says they're opening diamonds May 2nd, and we have teams that will be on the diamond come May 2nd. So at 8U, that means some of you will have your first practice on May 4th, and at 9U, your first practice will be that Monday, May 2nd. So the first 2 weeks of the month, that first week of May, so that May 2nd week, and then the week of May 9th, those are practice weeks. You will practice 3 or 4 times with your team before you get to your first game. And we do it for a couple of reasons. One is it's great to practice, right? We should practice before we play. It's good. We don't practice enough, quite frankly, at this age group. And so to get some more practices in is definitely not a bad thing. The second thing that does happen, and we all know, early May can be a little bit of a crapshoot when it comes to weather. So we do end up with more rainouts those first couple of weeks. So if we get a practice washed out, not the end of the world. Games obviously we're going to work to reschedule. So your season then would begin either May 15th, which is a Sunday for the 8U group, or May 16th, the Monday for the 9U group. Okay. A couple other things that are new this year. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry.
No,
are
no,
those
don't
four practice dates? Are those for each team, or is that just going to be each team would have one of those practice dates?
No, that'll be for each team. You'll practice. So you're in 9U, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. So May 2nd would be traditionally, that's a Monday, I think, is traditionally the practice night for the 8U. The
Perfect.
9U.
Yeah.
Then May 6th is the Friday, right? I think. And that's your game night traditionally. And so we've got the diamond books. You're going to practice on that May 6th as well. And then again, May 9th. And then again, May 13th with your first game, May 16th.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then the 8U group has 3 because your first game is a little bit earlier. That's you'll be on the diamond for your game a little bit earlier, your first game a little bit earlier. So where was I? I was talking about tournaments. So season begins, we move into tournaments. So tournaments are new this year. We haven't run tournaments across GMBA before. So starting from 8U through 19U, there's a weekend tournament that teams are going to play in. We're still working on the format, especially for the 9U group. That's 5 teams. So what that tournament's going to look like. But with the 4-team 8U group, how it'll work is you'll play 1 game Friday, 2 games Saturday, and then the top 2 teams will move on to the finals on Sunday morning, and that'll be how that tournament works for that weekend. And then for the 9U group, we're going to figure out how to best work a 5-team tournament to make it work. So stay tuned on that end as well. Okay. And then playoffs, 8U's playoffs are from July 17th to July 22nd. And then 9U, your playoffs are from July 23rd to July 28th. The season will be done for everybody before we get to the August long weekend. So if you've been around GMBA for a while, we used to play past the August long weekend. It's always a challenge to get players that weekend day. So we're done. Season's done by July 28th at the actually the 29th is our rain date if we have any rain over playoffs, but July 28th, July 29th is our plan. Okay. Let's talk about practices. And this slide's actually wrong. It's not always Wednesday evenings. It's different based on your teams there. But practices, each team practices once a week, right? So we have 1 game day a week and 1 practice day a week, right? And so just to pull this up here so we can see the 8U group plays their games on Sundays, and you practice on Wednesdays, and the 9U group plays your games on Fridays, and you practice on Mondays. Okay, so that's how it works. Week after week, you'll have 2 teams on the practice diamond together at the same time, so you'll practice with the same team every single week. We really encourage you to practice together, and not just to say, hey, this is my team, that's your team. See you in an hour and a half. When we're done our practice. It's really great if you can work together. We are providing with practice plans. We're actually going to walk through one together on this call here tonight. And then you're also going to get 2 training sessions with Sandlot baseball that are going to come to your diamond on your practice night. If you don't know Sandlot's run by an individual named Brody Richards. Brody's a lifelong GMBA guy, been a coach of ours, was on board for forever. He's got an initiative, a business that he runs called Sandlot Sports. And they're all about youth development, youth athletic development. And so we think it's a great fit for our 7 and 8 and 9-year-old baseball players. He focuses on just athleticism and athletic development and a lot around throwing. which for us at 8U and 9U is the key piece to our development program here for this age group. And if your players get one thing out of their season, it's this year, I made two things. One is that they have a bunch of fun, obviously number one, right? But number two is that you are teaching them to throw a baseball this year. We see this across all of our divisions. Our throwing skills is an area that we want to improve upon, because our best throwers become our best pitchers. And you at 9U, you're going to be pitching next year at 10U. We need more pitchers, so we need more throwers, and we need to develop that throwing skill. So that's what Brody's going to work on with your teams when he's out practicing with you twice a week, is athletic development and throwing skills. So you'll see that when he comes out. And Brody's team will run your practices for you. We'll talk a bit about Sandlot in a second, but he'll come out. You'll still be there as a coach and participating, your team's participating, but Brody and his team will run your practice that night. And the idea is that we hope that you'll take, as much as your players are developing and learning, we hope you'll take as a coach some of what he's teaching you as well, and be able to build that into your practice plans as you move forward. Okay. Talked about this. Our development focus is about throwing. It's there 3 times on purpose because we're actually hoping you'll spend about half your practice working on throwing. We think it's that important. And then obviously you need to catch, you got to hit, you got to field. Those are things that will work into your practice plans as well. So I'm going to just switch screens here. I'm going to pull up a practice plan. So we've developed for the 8U, 9U group 3 standard practices that you can run. So this is the practice from week 1 to week 4. There's a week 5 to week 8 and a week 9 to week 12. We've got lots of baseball experience here. I heard from, as we did our intros here, lots of people have coached before. Lots of people have lots of baseball experience. Lots of people love baseball. So if you've got better ways to do this, if you've got something you want to supplement, you want to add to it, you don't want to do this at all because you got something else that works just as well or better, awesome. Go ahead and do that. But at a minimum, we're hoping your practices look something like this. And if you're new and you're looking for a place to start, these templates in our mind are a good place to start. So here's what we'd suggest you do. So you come to practice, obviously we want to warm up, right? 5 minutes for your warm up. Lots of things you do for a warm up, go for a light jog, maybe run the bases, military walk, high knees, butt kicks, all that stuff here, arm circles. Let's get our players loose. And then one of the things early on is, base running is a skill that we don't teach enough in baseball. We don't work into our practices. And so we encourage you to make sure there's a base running component into each of your practices. So, the first one here with this exercise we got here is called Give Me 5, right? Which is, hey, players line up at home plate and they run through the bag at first base, right? And they give the coach a high five when they come into the bag, right? And hey, the key teaching point on that one, right, is like run hard, run fast, run through the bag, right? Don't stop, run through the bag, right? Pick up the ball, come back, if it's an overthrow, come back to the bag, you want to teach, and then once you've gotten that, maybe you can have a run from first to second. So you do a run to first, first week of maybe the first 2 weeks, and then week 3, hey, we're gonna make it mimic like we hit a double now. So we're going to practice round the bag properly at first base, head into second base, right? Or you know what? Hey, we hit a triple or we hit a home run, right? And so the teams are working together. You'd have both teams on the diamond doing their warm up and the base running at the same time, as a way to get loose and get going. So, so you're about 10 minutes into your practice at this point in time. Maybe it's 15 minutes, somewhere around there. Your practice length will absolutely vary, right? Your players, the 9-year-olds might be able to go for 75 minutes, maybe 90 minutes. That might be a little bit long, but maybe 75 minutes. Maybe the 8-year-olds are 75 minutes and 60 minutes. You'll figure that out what's best for your group. But you do have the diamond for 2 hours on a practice night, so you can be out there for, what makes sense. But I think personally, and I've just recently coached at 8U and 9U, I think somewhere between that hour to an hour and 30 minutes will be the right sort of time frame, and you'll get a sense of what that looks like for your kids. So, hey, we got a warm up happening. This is all happening together, both teams, right? Doing the warm up, doing some base running, and then both teams taking some infield together, right? And so this is just a fun exercise called hockey baseball, right? We're Canadians, we all like hockey. So you put up a couple goals, between a couple players, and you either roll them a ground ball, depending on their skill level, or you hit them a ground ball, and their job is to make sure that ball doesn't get past them, right? They don't score, right? We'll get into some teaching fielding skills a little bit later on in the practice, but this is just another way to warm up, to see some ground balls. And your progression can really vary based on the skill level of your players here. And so you can have a little bit of fun. Again, and you can set up multiple nets, on your diamond, so that maybe you've got 4 nets happening at the same time with a couple different coaches rolling balls or hitting ground balls across your group. You get lots of players, lots of reps while you're working together. Because again, you're going to have 20 or so players together working through this drill here together. So you want to split them into, 4 groups, 5 groups if you can, so the numbers are smaller across your diamond. Okay. And then from there, so now we're about 15 minutes into practice, somewhere there, maybe 20 minutes. We've got a practice rotation for about an hour left here. And from here, we're going to have we recommend that you split into sort of 2 groups, or maybe split into the 2 teams at this point in time. And the 2 groups would go into 2 different stations, and there would be 2 rotations taken throughout the practice, right? Team 1 would start in station 1, teams 2 would start in station 2. The rotation lasts for about 30 minutes, and then after 30 minutes, team 1 moves to station 2, and team 2 moves to station 1, right? And in station 1, you're going to focus on you're going to be in the infield and in left field. So that's where station 1 is going to be, in those 2 areas. And in station 1, you're going to focus on hitting and fielding. Okay. And so what you'll do even further then is you've got station 1, you've got team 1 there at station 1. You're going to take that team and split them into 2 more groups. So now you got about 6 players in each group, 6 in one group, 6 in the other group. So half that team would stay in the infield, and half that team would go to the outfield with a coach. The group that's in the infield, and then they would rotate back to the other. So the group that's in the outfield would rotate to the infield after 15 minutes, and vice versa, right? The group of the infield, have them all throw their batting helmets on, because we're gonna take some batting practice, right? And if you're looking for some simple fundamental tools to teach hitting, there's a great Baseball Canada link here. Click on it. They've got some real sort of age appropriate thoughts around the fundamentals of hitting a baseball that you can take and incorporate into your practice as you make sense. And so here's how we recommend you set up your hitting area. Okay. So you got the first spot is you got a coach running the pitching machine, and you got the pitching machine set up in the proper spot on the diamond, right? And then you've also got a second hitting station where you've got a coach pitching wiffle balls to a batter who is doing some wiffle ball BP as well. So at the same time, you'll have 2 kids hitting at the exact same time. One hitting the ball off the pitch machine, and one hitting some wiffle balls at a spot that's safe and off to the side with a coach, or it could be with a parent as well if you don't have a lot of coaches at your practice that night. And then the rest of your players so you got players hitting off the wiffle ball station, you got players hitting off the pitch machine, you got 1 player waiting to hit on deck, and you got the remaining 2 or 3 players in the infield fielding ground balls that are hit and rolling them back in. And what we encourage you is that don't have, like, if you got lots of guys who can really bop the baseball, throw some parents in the outfield to go chase those balls that really get hit, right? Keep your players in the infield to field some ground balls that are live hit ground balls. And then what you do is you just rotate. So, hey, the guy that just hit becomes a fielder. The fielder goes to wiffle ball goes to the on deck, the on deck batter goes into hit, and you just rotate through, right? And if you're quick about it, you take about 8 swings, right? Players get about 8 swings. They may actually be able to get through 2 rotations. They'll be able to hit twice off the machine, hit twice off the wiffles, field a couple times as well, and work your way through it and get lots of swings in at your practice. Okay. So that's how the hitting piece would work. And at the same time that's happening, you'd have the other half of your team, the other 6 players are in the outfield, and they're working on some fielding drills. And so, hey, we got the crocodile drill. We run this drill forever around how to teach the field a ground ball. But if you're new to it, around trying to teach how to field a ground ball, there's a great video link here on the crocodile drill. And so the other 6 players in your team are in left field working on the crocodile drill, and they're working on some catching skill development as well. And there are some key sort of steps here around how to catch a baseball, which is one of the things we want to teach here at 8U, 9U is the proper way to catch a baseball. And this sort of walks you through step by step around how to catch a baseball that's thrown above your belt, below your belt, to your glove side, to your backhand side, and how to work with a player as a coach to teach that fundamental catching skill. And it's something that we got to do over and over and over and over and over again, but we'll get there, right? So that's what you're doing. So you're spending 7 minutes doing the crocodile drill, you're 7 minutes working on catching with your players, and then those guys would go and hit, and the guys and gals that were just hitting would come out and would do the fielding drills. Okay. And while that's all happening, out in right field is the other team, and they're working on throwing. For that 30 minutes that they're in right field, they're working on throwing. And so one of the first things we're going to teach is how to pick up the baseball with a 4-seam grip. We want to teach, and that could be them throwing with their whole hand or their 3 fingers. Most of your players, I don't think any of our players at 8U, 9U are throwing with 2 fingers just yet, but picking up the baseball with a 4-seam grip. We want to teach it really, really young, right? And then, hey, and then once you've worked on the grip piece of it, we've talked about that, then we'll work on some throwing mechanics. And Baseball Canada has this concept around the wheel. There's a video link here on how to teach young youth baseball players how to throw a baseball. You can jump on here, this link, and follow the progressions and instructions here on how to teach the player to throw a baseball like they're, I can't see me on the screen here. But anyways, like a wheel. Good link here to how to do that as well. Okay. So you do the wheel for about 8 minutes. And then we play a couple of games here. We call this one Big Arm, which is about, I think it's about just throwing the ball really far, right? So you got, so we've done some throwing warm-ups here. And now we're going to throw a ball really far. And then we've got some target practice happening here. Okay. So the other piece I'll just say around the throwing station is this is another great spot to involve parents if you can. If you can get your parents not to bring their lawn chair to practice, you've done an awesome job as a coach at this age. Because look, we all know when we play catch, when two 8-year-olds and two 9-year-olds play catch together, nobody's catching a baseball. They're just chasing baseballs all over the place, right? There's a couple of really good 9-year-olds who play catch together, but not many, right? So what we really encourage you to do is have their parent come play catch with them. So when you're doing the wheel exercise, have them throw that baseball to their parent. So the ball gets caught. And then when the parent throws it back to their kid, they're going to throw in a way that kid can catch the baseball, right? They're not going to whip it at them. They're going to, if that player is really afraid of the baseball, they're going to, I know when I threw to my kids when they were really young, I'd just toss it and it would land right in their glove, right? They wouldn't even have to close it. It would be perfect for them, right? Everybody feels great. Hey, you caught a baseball. Awesome. Now they throw it back to you, right? If you don't have parents helping you, have the coaches be the ones they throw to. So, and you just as a coach, go down the line and play catch with your players so that they're having a chance to throw to an adult. It'll make your practice so much better. Okay. And so you do all these throwing drills for half an hour. And then this group here, team 2, would now come to the infield and do the hitting and fielding drills. And the group that was hitting and fielding would now come out and throw for 30 minutes. And so as you can see, we are really hoping that you will spend about half your practice throwing a baseball. And you'll find other drills you want to use or other games you can play to teach throwing. But we really are emphasizing lots and lots of throwing of a baseball. So anyways, that's lots of me talking around practices. What sort of questions you guys have, or even other ideas of other great practice ideas that we can incorporate into some of these practices?
One thing that I found useful last year is obviously our hands are a lot bigger than the 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, is if the coach uses like a 12-inch softball, it'll teach the kids how, the kids can actually see how they might have to hold on to the ball. Cool. I just found that useful last year with some of my guys having trouble gripping the ball and that. And then the other question I had is with the sandlot sessions, does that happen earlier in the year or sort of later in the year, sort of sprinkled throughout?
Yeah, great question, Chad. I'll get to those dates in a second. We've got them already figured out. So I'll show you that in a second. That's a great question. What other questions or thoughts do folks have? Okay, cool. So let's jump back into the presentation here. So practices, so Sandlot. So to your question, Chad. So for the 8U group, here's where Sandlot's going to be at our diamond. So 8U group, team 1 and team 2, Brody's team will be with you on May 18th, team 3 and 4, May 25th, and then June 1st, team 5 and 6. And there's actually only 5 teams. So no, there's 6 teams at 8U, right, Lindsay? Sorry. It's 6 teams at 8U, right, Lindsay?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, that's right. So that's all correct there on the screen. Great, awesome. I don't know what presentation this is for us so far, but yeah. So then Brody will be back a second time. So Sandlot is with your team twice, once in May and again once in June. Okay. For 9U, it's a bit more tricky because we got 5 teams, not 6 teams, and to try to make it all work across the diamonds the whole bit, here's how it's going to work for 9U. Brody's going to be with your teams. He's going to work with your teams 3 times, May 30th, June 13th, and June 27th. And there's going to be 2 sessions per night, and that parents are going to sign up for. Okay, so we're going to actually work through Corey and work through you coaches and the parents to say they need to pick which of the 2 sessions they want to go to. There'll be a session that runs from 5:30 to 7, then another session that runs from 7 to 8:30 on May 30th, June 13th, and June 27th. Players will sign up for the one that works best for them. They do not have to sign up as a team. Just come to the one that works best for you. It'll be at all the Riverside Diamonds, all 3 Riverside Diamonds where we're running this at. and you'll just show up to the diamonds, and Brody will run one large practice, split into smaller groups for the players. So essentially what you'd see is half your league at the 5:30, 7 o'clock session, and then the other half at the 7 to 8:30 session. And so that will replace your practices on May 30th, June 13th, and June 27th. Okay. Any questions about that on the 9U side? The other thing I just want to say, I didn't mention this earlier for your 9U coaches, is one of the teams will practice alone. So when we talked about teams practicing together, because there's 5 teams in your division, one of your teams will not have a team that they'll practice with on the diamond. They'll just practice by themselves on the diamond. Okay.
Jeff, are we going to change through that, or will it always be one team doing the solo thing?
It's up to you guys. You guys tell me how you want to handle that, and we'll schedule that, Corey. So if you say, hey, we're going to move it around, then we'll move it around. The practice time and dates are always the same. It's always the same location. It's Riverside 1, 2, or 3. It's just what diamond you'd be on, who you're practicing with. So we're easy either way. We can make that schedule work either way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Good question.
And then just something on the Sandlot thing. We've been using Brody for our select team for, I think we started the week of March break like that, and the kids love it. Like, they don't even realize sometimes that they're learning baseball. He's just having fun activities with them, throwing. They don't even think about it. They're like, oh, we're playing handball, or we're playing wiffle ball or something like that this day. And he's just great, and I think the kids are gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, totally agree. I think it's gonna be a really good addition from a development point of view. Absolutely, and just fun, Okay. So games, as I mentioned, 8U games are on Sundays, 9U games are on Fridays. If you're coming up from 7U, we're finally going to start keeping score, right? So games sort of count. We got scores, standings are tracked, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it actually doesn't even matter what place you finish, because the playoffs and the tournament are all just random draw with where you get seeded. It does not matter what place your team finishes during the regular season. And we do that on purpose because we think it's totally okay. We want you to be fair around how you spread your players out and not worry about winning, right? And because it won't matter at the end of the day. So if you play somebody at a position that costs you a game by chance, which probably doesn't really matter. I hope nobody thinks that way at you, but maybe you do. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, because if you finish first, you finish last, you might still end up against whichever teams we pull a random draw against. So, but we do keep score because we know the kids keep score. People want to know the standings, so we got some standings happening, but quite frankly, they don't matter when it comes to the tournament or for playoffs. You got 6 infielders and 4 outfielders. So if you got teams that are bigger than 10, you'll have a player or 2 that will sit, and then you'll want to spread that sitting out evenly throughout the game. And then the inning is over, all players bat, and then the inning's over after 3 outs or 5 runs are scored. There's a 5-run mercy. There's no open inning here. If I remember, because I could be 9U, 8U, 9U last year. The team that typically won was the team that found a way not to have, had the least amount of open innings scored against them. That was the team that ended up winning those games. They're pretty high scoring, And then we're going to walk through some rules here as well, just to go through some of the big sort of rules here around 8U, 9U. So rules are.
Can I ask something before you do that? Sorry.
Yeah,
I was wondering, have you ever thought about giving the teams maybe a week or so? Like, I'm new to this, so forgive me if this is like way out of left field, but thinking like giving the teams a week or so to come up with a team name instead of team 1, team 2, and then the kids are more involved in like the team name kind of thing.
That'd be totally fun. Yeah, I don't know if our website would allow us to do anything other than team 1 or team 2, but you gotta call yourselves whatever you want. Like, that's totally cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think that's kind of fun. And that type of stuff, Jordan, it adds a lot to a team of 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, right? If we're the yellow team and we want to be called the whatever, right? That's cool. Yeah. I think that's totally fun. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. No worries. So, hey, rules up on the GMBA website under the About tab, rules and constitution, and house league rules are right here. We won't go through them all, but I do want to go through some of the sort of main points here. And hopefully you'll take some time to read them before you get to your first couple of games here. So a couple of things. One is you need 8 players to play a game. So if you are short players, you can call it from the division below you. So the 9U group can call it from the 8U group, and you 8U coaches can call it from the 7U group. Work through your convener, and they'll help you to work with the other convener to find players to come and play up on your team. If you end up with less than 8 players, like I said, the standings don't really matter. So I hope you still play your game. Like, don't say, oh, we have to forfeit and you leave. Like, just play your game. If it's 5 kids, bring them together and figure something out. That's fun, right? Like, you can work that out. But officially, you need 8 players for your game. Thunder, lightning. If you coaches or umpires, if you see lightning or hear thunder, the game's called automatically. Just shut it down. And don't try to force something in because you're worried about just not getting enough baseball. We will work really hard to reschedule your game. If you play an inning and the thunderstorm rolls in and that's it, we'll reschedule that game for you, right? If you had 6 innings in, we'd probably call it a day, right? But please don't try to play that game just because you're worried about us not being, not getting enough baseball in. So just shut her down and we'll come back at it another day. Okay. Your games are 7 innings. I think typically we got like 5 or 6 in last year. I think typically, so we'll see somewhere around there because there is a time limit of 1 hour and 45 minutes, and no inning can start after 1 hour and 45 minutes from the start time of your game. Okay. We talked about the 5-run mercy per inning, and then the rest of these rules aren't really too applicable for the AU 9U groups. But I did want to just jump into the division specific rules on top of that and just go through a couple things here. So the biggest difference between the 2 divisions is at 8U, your pitching machine speed will be set somewhere between 30 to 35 miles per hour. And at 9U, it's somewhere between 35 to 40 miles per hour. And for those that are new, the machine's got some instructions on it, and you just got to like move a lever here and I don't even know, like a thing there, and then it'll change the spring and the handle, and you'll kind of get to that spot. It walks you through how to get set up to have speed that are somewhere between 30 to 35 or 35 to 40 miles per hour. The other thing that you'll find, and I know the coaches who were around last year totally would have seen this, is even though the machines are set the same, right? If everybody sets the same for the 35 to 40, and everybody's got it set the same at 30 to 35, machines will be different. They're not going to be exactly the same. They will pitch at a different, some will feel a little bit faster and some will feel a little bit slower, and they probably are, right? That's baseball, right? Our players are going to face pitchers in a year or 2 from now that are pitching to them. We're throwing all different speeds. We want players to be able to hit at different speeds as well. It's the home team's responsibility to set up the diamond, so that's whose pitch machine you will use that game. And if it's slightly different than yours, but it's still set up the same, then hey, you got to work with it, right? If it's a little bit slower, a little bit faster, encourage your players to try to find a way to compete and hit that baseball. And I think you'll find that many are able to make that adjustment to hit that ball. But if there's been any sort of thing that pops up around our rookie ball house league teams, is that comment where it's like, hey, we show up to the game and this guy's machine was faster than mine and none of our guys could hit that baseball. It's like, if it was set properly, just like yours is set, then and the reason they are slightly different speeds is some of them are newer or older. The springs might be a little bit stronger on one, and that just may attribute to the ball flight being slightly faster from one machine to another. But if the key is just make sure they're set up roughly the same for 35 to 40 at 9U or 30 to 35 miles an hour at 8U. Okay, home team set us up the diamond. But if you're the visiting team, we really encourage you to bring all your equipment to that game, because you never know. Hey, a coach, the home team coach might just forget their gear. It's totally happened. Or the pitch machine breaks partway through the game, and now you've got a spare to plop in and finish the game with. And if you got to a point though where like both machines broke or you didn't have a machine to use, you can just move to coach pitch, have a coach throw some underhand pitches, and have some players tee off on a ball as well. That's totally cool to do as well. Okay. You got 6 infield positions, 4 outfield positions, and then the pitcher has to wear the baseball helmet. So in your bag, you're going to have a baseball helmet that's got a mask on the front, and so the pitcher's got to wear that helmet when they're at the pitching mound. And the reason they got to wear that helmet is sometimes that ball can ricochet off the pitch machine and bounce in funny ways and strike the pitcher, and so we want to protect obviously their head and their face as best we can. So that's why we got the cage as well as the helmet. It's not always the most comfortable thing to wear, but that's part of the deal. Batters receive, and this rule is the same as it was last year. Batters receive 3 hittable pitches as determined by the umpire, right? And after 3 pitches, if they strike out, you bring a tee out and they hit off the tee. The batter gets a chance to hit off the tee, and they've got to hit the ball within 2 tries past the dead ball line as determined by the umpire. If they're not able to hit the ball after 2 tries, then the batter's out, and we move on to the next batter. And we put this rule in place last year, and I'll tell you, as somebody whose kids were played rookie ball when this rule was not in place, the game is, in my mind, is so much better. Last year, you would get 5 to 6 innings in most games. When my kids played, we'd get 3, maybe 4 innings in if we're lucky. Because the old rule used to be you got 7 hittable pitches, and you'd have some players, and you know them, they couldn't hit it if it was 100 pitches. They wouldn't hit the ball that day, right? And so you just sit there while they go through their 7 pitches, and then they strike out, and they go sit down on the bench. Whereas this way, we've got 3 pitches. They didn't hit it. Okay, that's fine. Bring the tee out. Most of those players hit the ball off the tee. Now you got a ball in play. Now you got players making plays defensively. Now you got a batter who's now running to first base, got a chance to get on base. Game moves by a little bit quicker, and it's just better pace, more fun, more balls in play. And so we think it's been a nice adjustment to the rule, and has added a lot of value to our rookie ball ages. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, is there any chance we could just amend that to the 2 attempts off the tee that actually make contact? Just if there's 2 whiffs because they're nervous because they haven't been on a tee for a while, or they are learning, just to at least make contact. Like an extra swing doesn't really, I don't know. Just curious.
Yeah, we can't change the rules now.
Okay.
We're I mean, we could, but we're not. Like not everybody's here. These are the rules we're rolling with this year.
Okay.
But that being like, look, everybody's easy going here. If you're talking to their coach, if you got a player up there who's never got a hit or really struggling, you talk to the coach. You guys make some adult decisions out there that are best for the player. Everybody's cool with that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep, no worries. Yep.
Just one other thing that came up last year was foul balls on the 3rd hittable pitch. Does the kid hit off the tee, or do they continue to hit off the pitching machine?
So how I interpret that is they continue. They would. So officially, I'd like to change this rule. It's too late. We will amend this for next year. I'll write this down, because I think if they foul the ball off the 3rd pitch, they should get a 4th pitch. Personally, your baseball, like, you didn't strike out, right? So that's my interpretation. It's really going to be up to the umpires to interpret it. I think if I was an umpire and I was being really strict, they had their 3 hittable pitches. They didn't hit them after 3. They got to bring the tee out. But that's not baseball, right? Hey, if a good at bat, you foul a pitch off with 2 strikes. That's a good at bat. Let's keep going, right?
Yeah. The only reason I asked is we had it both ways last year, so the kids were getting all confused and that. So
I mean, the way the rule's written, unfortunately, is that you would bring the tee out after the foul ball, which I don't like. We got to fix that. So yeah, that's a really good question, Chad. Okay. Last piece around rules, there's just no like a ball that's overthrown at first base or 3rd base that goes out of play. Nobody's taking it. Nobody's getting an advance of base. Hang out where you were. Parent picks up the ball, rolls it back in. We go to the next player comes up. Okay. Okay. Any other questions about rules? Those are 2 good points you guys brought up.
Jeff, one question relating to infield positions.
Yeah.
During the season last year, it didn't seem to be a big problem, but especially in the playoffs, there were a couple of teams that had 1 or 2 very good players who coincidentally were the only people that ever played pitcher.
They played pitcher and first base, right? Played pitcher and first base, right?
No, because they had to go to the outfield sooner or later. I think there was some kind of a rule for that, and nobody cared during the season, but it became terribly frustrating for our parents. And ultimately, that's your market, getting the parents to bring their kids back next year when it was the same kids. And they were always giants. They were giants. So you could see that they was the same kids at pitcher all the time. I mean, it's probably too late to do it now, but it's something you might give consideration to for the future. Yeah,
totally. Like it's, I saw it too, Lou, when I watched your playoff games last year. Absolutely. I saw it for sure. And it's a tough balance, right? Because, you got to play the infield, you got to play the outfield. I think the one difference that might help this year a little bit is all your teams have more, like we had smaller teams last year, and we have more players this year. So you'll have fewer teams, especially at 12U, at 9U, where we've got, because you'll have to have some players who will be sitting on the bench, not playing every inning. And so within those first 4 innings, a player will have to have played the outfield, have played the infield, will probably have had to sit as well an inning. And so you might get them half the time, I guess. You might get one more time them away from the pitcher's rubber. Yeah, I hear you. I saw it too. Yeah. We haven't found a way to fix that yet. At the older ages, we have the same challenge. The older ages, we have they use the same pitchers over and over again. This is a move that our coaches do at the older ages, right? And so yeah, we'll keep working on it. Yeah,
Jordan. Do you talk about this? Are we allowed to keep, or is it just wrong to keep like third baseman? He's third base.
Yeah.
Second base, or do we or is it we don't want to do that because we want everyone to have fair shot, or is it our role to create the positions?
Yeah, so your players have to play the outfield and infield at least once in those first 4 innings.
Gotcha.
Where they play in those positions is up to the coach, but we really encourage you to spread it out. And when I coached at 8U, I kept a spreadsheet, and I knew everybody played the same amount of times at shortstop, everybody played the same amount of times at second base and at first base. Not everybody, I tried to get everybody to catch, but I always had a couple of kids who just were really scared back there, so I didn't have them catch. I didn't force it back there. Everybody played pitcher, which gets the most action, as we all know, right? And so what I would encourage you as a coach trying to develop baseball players is to spread them around and be as absolutely fair as possible to spread them around. That's what we're here to do. So I really, we don't want just you're not just a position. And we quite frankly do that at our rep teams too. You're an infielder and an outfielder and a pitcher at all of our rep teams too, and at least until you get to high school. That's our thought. Yeah.
That's fair. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's great. Like, really good question.
Jeff, one more comment more than a question.
Yeah.
We saw a couple of sets of fans, teams with fans, who I think we're pretty sure the kids were all going to the major leagues next year. It was incredible to see how competitive the parents were that their kids should win. It's a development league, and I don't know, somewhere along the line there should probably be encouragement given to the coaches to coach some of the parents as well, because their expectations should be set that the kids can have fun and learn to play baseball, not that they're going to win it all. But that's my opinion.
You're here, Lou. Yeah, I hear you. Hey, so moving along here, tournaments. These are your tournament dates. I think I mentioned we don't exactly have the plan yet for 5U, but expect to play games on Friday and on Saturday with the top 2 teams in each division playing on Sunday as well. That's what you'll see around the tournament. And we're just working on the schedule for tournament shortly. Playoffs, as I mentioned, playoff seedings are just determined by random draw. So the 8U playoffs are July 17th to 22nd, and then 9U are July 23rd to the 28th. Umpires, this is never an issue here at our younger ages, but I'll just mention it again here. You get our youngest umpires at this age group. You get our first year umpires. You will get my kid at your games this year. And like all sports organizations, all youth sports organizations, we are hurting for officials. They're hurting for, everybody's hurting for officials. We're no different at GMBA. We lose about half of our umpires after the first 3 years of them umpiring. Half of them are gone. I know Corey's a referee. So same with the referees have the same challenge happening. And so just like you do for our players, we expect you to be that awesome, positive role model, adult role model for our players. Please do the same thing for umpires. These guys are young, brand new. You're going to get players to do their first game ever will be with your game. Help them out. If they're not in the right position, help them get to the right position. You get to your plate meeting and they don't know what to say to you, help them along with their plate meeting, right? Be that awesome role model you are for your players, for our umpires too. Okay. And then last couple of things here, we got to do some police checks. So if you're a new coach this year, you didn't coach last year, you got to get your police check done. So we'll send some info through Corey to you and Lindsay to you for police check info. But if you did coach last year and you did your police check, we just need a declaration signed that just states, hey, nothing's changed for my police check from last year. I'm still all good. And then we'll go from there. So we're running up against the time here. Sorry, last slide I got here is around next steps here. So just so you can take this away, and then we can take a few questions for a few minutes. Do your police checks, please, as soon as you can. By the end of the weekend or maybe by Monday, reach out to your parents, introduce yourself to them, let them know what team their kid's on, how uniform pickup's working, let them know roughly when you're going to see them for their first practice and when games are going to start. Swing by the baseball office next week, please, and pick up your gear. And then if you're raring to go and you want to find some more baseball resources, coaching resources, jump on our website or click that link here in the presentation and you can get started on planning your practices out. So I think that's all that we had for tonight. What questions do you have for me or for Lindsay or for Corey? Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
It's Brandon here.
Oh, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question around COVID. So last year we had like 2 sets of pitchers helmets, 2 sets of catchers gear, and we had to basically spray everything down every inning. Is that still expected that we do that this season or no?
No, all those COVID protocols have all been removed, and so it's just like it was. You can have seeds on the diamond again and chew gum and do all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, great question.
Sorry, I can't find the raise the hand button. Can I just jump in here for a
Yeah,
second?
of course, Mark. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, 2 questions. What for the 8U, what are the starting times on Wednesdays and Sundays? And the second question is, how recent does your police police background check need to be?
Great. So 6 p.m. for both of those for practices and for games. And then if a police check in the last sort of 6 months, if you did one for say hockey or basketball or something like that in the fall or another thing, you can flip it over to us. That works.
Okay, good. You have a minor hockey one from the fall.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Jeff, do we need the VSCs or just the short one?
Yeah, we need the VSC. Yeah, the vulnerable sector check. Good. That's a good question. Yeah. Thanks, Corey. Kyle, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to double check. I heard something. I'm not sure if I heard it correctly, but to confirm the 9U Sawyer and Broden's team that I'll be coaching, that is going to be on the Friday, correct?
Yeah, 9U games are Fridays. Yep, and 9U practices are Monday evenings.
Okay, because I thought I heard Sunday mixed in there. And then just as a second point, for what it's worth, I'm gonna just second. I think it was Corey who had mentioned it. Those Sandlot things are amazing. They practice their fundamentals, but they subtly learn in a very karate master like way a lot of stuff that will translate into baseball. And the team building's been sensational. Really enjoyed those, and I think those are huge. So I'd like to see more of that just in the future.
Cool.
And also these are great. These meetings and things like that. I think it's a lot of times when you volunteer to coach, you're thrown to the wolves, and then a lot of people are kind of like disappointed. So although it's gone a little bit long, whatever, but I think it's very important that we do these, set the expectations, and agree, share opinions, and decide it just for fun, get the rules straight. So I really appreciate that all this thought and hard work has gone into these. So thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Okay. So I think maybe we'll wrap up, and Corey and Lindsay and I have to jump on actually another call at 9 o'clock with our 19U age group. But if you have other questions, you've got our contact info. Reach out to us. Reach out to Lindsay. Reach out to Corey. Reach out to myself. We'll see you at the baseball office in a couple of weeks. Next week, and to pick up your gear. And hey, thanks again for stepping up, and coach. We really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you all on the diamond this summer. Thanks very much. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Jeff.
night.
Thanks, Lindsay, for setting all this up. This is great.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Corey. Cheers.
Bye bye.